So they took the concept of the open sexuality, put the name of a Christian priest on it, so it seems like a holy day, but actually it's the open sexuality of the Lupercalia. It is important for us when we look at the issue of holiday myths. From the beginning of time, people worshipped the Creator in different ways. The Quran tells us in the chapter of the Bee, Surah An-Nahl, and verily we have sent to every nation a messenger, that they worship Allah and stay away from false gods. So amongst the people there were those who believed in one God, but there were also people who based their religion on natural things. So they based their religions on the movement of the sun, the stars, the heavenly bodies. Also on the natural seasons. So whether it's summer season, fall, winter, spring. Also on reproduction, mysteries of sexual activity and reproduction within nature. So these nature groups spread throughout the world. They came in contact with the teachings of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, when some of his followers ended up in Greece and in Rome. And we know these followers to a great extent were influenced by Paul, who had accepted his teachings but then started to change the message somewhat, sort of opening up the doors for other types of beliefs. Now, what comes out of this is that the Romans reacted against the believers in one God, and they began to torture them. And so somewhere along the line, somebody said the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. And so an amalgamation between the nature-based religions and the belief in one God came about, so that what existed was a new religion, a new form of spirituality, and that combined, the basis of it was these three elements: the movement of the seasons, the heavenly bodies, and sexuality. And so the cults began to influence. So when you look at the season now, people are talking about the birth of Christ, but actually the ceremony that is going on is the Bacchanalia of the Greeks and the Saturnalia of the Romans. And this was a drunken orgy, and so many different strange things are happening. Now, going into January, the solar calendar tells us that actually the new year is not January. January was based on Janus, who is the two-faced God. He's got one face of spirituality and another face of materialism. Now going into February now, there was a celebration done by the Romans called the Lupercalia. And the Lupercalia was based upon their gods of Pan and Juno. February is actually named after one of their gods as well. And so this is a time where you're coming out of the winter and you're going toward the spring season. And so they used to have large gatherings of young people, and they would take the name of women, put them in a large container, and the men would choose them and literally have a sexual relationship. So it was based upon this, Cupid concept. The Greek word is eros, erotica. Okay, so erotica is basically sexuality. And so that was the main issue on this occasion. And this is where you get cupids from, and hearts and things like that, because this is actually the ceremony of open sexuality. What happened was they combined this with an individual named Valentine, who in the Roman times, in the 3rd century of the Roman era, he was protecting young people. The Romans said no marriage because we want men to fight strong in battle, so we're not going to let you get married. Valentine, a religious priest, he disagreed with this. They put him in jail. He went against the state. Eventually they executed him. And on the day of his execution, he wrote a letter to two of the young people getting married, and he said, "From your Valentines." So that's where he's Saint Valentine's. So they took the concept of the open sexuality, put the name of a Christian priest on it, so it seems like a holy day, but actually it's the open sexuality of the Lunar calendar. And that is the dangerous thing for Muslims and people of conscience to get involved in this, because what happens is pornography, erotica, this overcomes everything else. It seems like it's innocent because Valentine was protecting young people, but the reality is it is an occasion where more people commit fornication and adultery, where rape happens, unwanted pregnancy. It is actually a dangerous time.